1 minute ago, global investors were asking one scary question. What if the next financial shock doesn't start on Wall Street, but in the Middle East? Right now, the war involving Iran is sending ripples through the global financial system. Not just oil markets, not just energy, but something even bigger that most people are not paying attention to yet: climate finance. And if that funding pipeline slows down, trillions of dollars planned for the future economy could suddenly freeze. Think about this. For the last few years, governments and investors have been pouring huge amounts of money into climate projects: renewable energy, electric vehicles, green infrastructure, and global transition funds tied to agreements like the Paris Agreement. But wars change priorities. When geopolitical tension rises, governments stop thinking about long-term climate investment and start focusing on immediate economic survival. Oil prices jump, energy supply becomes uncertain, and suddenly countries begin spending billions on defense, energy security, and inflation control instead of climate projects. Financial leaders at organizations like the International Monetary Fund and the International Energy Agency are already warning that the conflict could trigger supply shocks across global energy markets. And when energy prices spike, inflation follows. That means central banks tighten policy, investors become cautious, and massive funding plans for climate and green infrastructure start getting delayed or canceled. Now imagine the domino effect. Higher oil and gas prices increase the cost of transportation, fertilizer, and manufacturing across the world. Food prices rise, economic growth slows, and countries that were supposed to receive climate funding suddenly face budget crises. Low-income nations are expected to be hit the hardest because many of them rely heavily on international climate finance to build clean energy systems and protect against climate disasters. But here's the twist that markets are quietly watching. Some analysts believe this conflict could actually accelerate investment in renewable energy and alternative power sources as countries try to reduce their dependence on volatile fossil fuel markets. So the big question for investors right now is this: will the war slow down the global transition to clean energy, or will it trigger the biggest energy transformation the world has ever seen? Because history shows something interesting. Major energy shifts often begin during crises. The oil shocks of the 1970s reshaped energy policy. The Ukraine war accelerated Europe's renewable